What's up, guys? What's up? This back with another video, and I'll do a market breakdown on the AUD pairs, right? So this week a lot of fundamentals are coming out, so just be on the lookout for that. Last week was NFP, so we want to see how the market then further develops for the coming weeks, right? So of course we have AUD CAD as the first pair. You can see AUD CAD on the bigger time frame, right? On the monthly time frame, we can see that this market is in a corrective phase. We can see that, right? We can also see the market moving sideways, right? But let's analyze. So we can see we have this 1 2 touch over there. We can see we have this another 1 2 touch, 3 touch over there. So we have this outer structure on the monthly, right? We can see that the third touch aligns with this area of value on top here. So is this the impulse correction continuation? Possibly. This can act as a middle section and the market continue going higher, right? So obviously we can see market did break this high impulsively. So now the market is approaching this area of value, right? So we want to see how the market reacts towards this area. Is the market going to respect, give us a flag, and maybe continue going lower? If you can see, we have this area over there. We have this wick that can be filled also with this one right here, right? So let's quickly remove this. So we can see from a monthly time frame, this market has been moving, right? So let's go down to the weekly. So in the weekly, we can see the market left a gap towards an area of value, but now we can also see the market slightly moving sideways, right? So we can see on the weekly time frame, last week's candle closed bullish, right, and retraced 50% of the previous candle, right? So we can clearly see we have this impulse correction continuation. This is a correction. Are we expecting another continuation push to the upside? Possibly. But we can also see then the market and really maybe giving us sells beforehand, right? Last sell towards the downside. If we look at this, we can see at the market, we have this bull flag over here, right? Now there's a gap towards this area, right? The market moved up, left a gap towards this area, pushed away, came back, retest this area, moved away, and now we have a gap towards this area. So we can see there is liquidity towards the downside, right? So in hindsight, we can see, is the market really going to give us a last push towards the downside, or are we just going to rally towards the upside? So if we just look at this, right, we can see we have this area, this high over there, whereby we have gaps towards that area, right? We can see this value area over there. Sorry guys, this value area, we have a gap towards that, we have a gap. So we can see there is both liquidity towards the upside and downside, right? You can obviously see we have this impulse toward the downside, this market and sitting just correcting, but now the market broke out impulsively. So are we going to get the structural flip whereby the market forms a continuation pattern and then continues going higher, right? Or is the market going to break back into structure, then give us a continuation pattern, and then give us a push towards the downside into these areas where maybe we can get a push up, and then we see something like this forming, right? It is likely. Or if we just look at this and we remove this and we focus on this area of value over there, because this area over here was the initial push. This continuation pushed this market towards the upside, and now we have a gap towards that. Even though the market respected this area again over here with this push towards the upside. So now I would say rather be neutral on this one and wait for the market to show its end. If we can see this, we can maybe get a push back in, a flag. We can manage it into areas like this, into this low, and obviously this. So where would the best place of buying this pair be? Me personally, I would say if the market then does something like this, this would then just clear out all the noise of where's the market going next. Or the market then does this. If we could just quickly go to the H1, you can see on the H1 it broke out of all this, right? So let's say the market does something like this, where we get a retest, three touch retest, retesting the back end of this, and the market push up. Now we also see the slight area there. I don't think this area holds too much weight, but let's say the market pushes up again, breaks, and forms another continuation. Now this over here can clear out all noise, and then we can then say, okay, we are taking buys into this area over there, something like this, managing into this high over there, can approximately get like a 8%, 8 to 1. It's not about the returns, more about the process, about the trade, right? So we can get something like this or into this high. So either way, we just have to wait and see how the market develops. So that's AUD CAD, I would say, rather be neutral, because let's say the market then breaks back in, forms a continuation, sells off, we can then take into areas like this for management purposes. The next pair is AUD JPY, right? So AUD JPY, we can see this market is still in this bullish run. We are seeing it approaching this area over there. So now we can also see we had this sell off over here, then the market gave us bullish market over here, right? So from this area we can see it broke out impulsively, but I'll just use this nearest high over there. So let's go to the weekly, guys. If you guys can see, I'm just keeping my analysis simple and clean, not overcomplicating everything, right? So if you look at this high, there's also a hook point, or not hook point, yes, one could say a hook point over there. So I'm going to mark off this area of this with my arrow, just to know, okay, right, market broke out of this area, but now we can see we have this low over there. Remember, this is the weekly time frame. So we can see this area of value over there. Let's go down to the daily. Okay, it's downloading now. Sorry about that, guys. So we can see that this market came towards this area of value, pushed down but didn't give any sign of continuation, but the market then moved up, right? Then the market moved up, came back down, left the hook point and went up, right? But the market didn't really commit. So one would say maybe possibly there's a failed bullish structure towards the upside. Possibly, yes, we can say that it is possible that it is. It's not yet confirmed, but let's just mark off this. Now we see where the market is located currently. Yes, it filled this gap over there this week. It filled the gap either week over there. So you can see the market is just sitting. It didn't really move over. Yes, we saw this continuation, this reversal pushed up, didn't commit, depth the area again. So can there just be a deeper pullback? Want to say maybe something move up, push down, flag, retesting the back end of this, and this market continue going lower. But the problem I have, not the problem, one thing it is, one should always see is, we can see we have this, from this area we had that squeeze inside there, nice flag over there, take the area, gave a continuation. So now we have the push down, it's like a correction into a correction, right? Not the cleanest, but how would I take any buys or sells when it comes to this way, right? I believe the best way I would then take any trades of this kind of price action, even though there's nothing you can see. Sometimes don't force the market, just leave the market as me, right? I would say then pushing down aggressively, breaking out of all this, then we see the market maybe forming a 3-touch continuation. Now this I would then take into areas like this, 100%, right? So let's say for instance the buys, right? The buys I would want it to clear this high, push up. But now the problem is with this, the market can still this build up volume, take this, push down, and still continue going lower, right? So with the buys, yes, we want to take buys, but then the market must really move. If we can get something as aggressive, a push up, retesting the back end of this, because end of the day, if the market has to go higher, look where the area of value is on the bigger time frame. There's a long way to go, right? So for me personally, taking the buys around this areas over here, it is on the higher side because the market can take this area and continue going lower, taking this low before then really going towards the upside. Because we see the market really pushed up aggressively. So the market just doesn't move in one direction all the time. It has to breathe, right? So we can see this maybe building up volume for the next bullish run, right? So don't get trapped into just thinking the market will just go higher and higher. Yes, it can, but realistically, it's not a good thing to do to take these kind of trades. Wait for the market to come towards the area of value, right? So the best place for me for buying would be something like this, right? Then I can take it into areas like this for management. Maybe if it comes down for then a one, two, third touch, and then we go higher, right? So it's all about just waiting for the market to show its end. For the CLs, I would then say for CLs, like I explained, breaking out of all this impulsively, forming a H1 flag, H4 flag towards the downside. My next play is AUD NZD, right? So AUD NZD also, right? You can see the market boomed up completely, right? Breaking out of all this, where we see the market was just moving sideways, it broke out impulsively. That's a very good thing. So let's just quickly see. Let's mark off this area over there. I will just mark off this as a reference. Let's go down to the now AUD NZD on the weekly. On the weekly. We see this area over there, this inflection point. We can see the market just stalling at this area, right? Which can give us a sign that the market is maybe forming a continuation or something else, right? You can see it's slightly corrective, but this can also act as an impulse correction continuation, and this plays as a or acts as a running channel, right? So let's go down to the daily. So the daily, we can see this, we have this area, we can see we have this side. So the market, possible gap towards this area, it is possible the market also maybe retest this. Now why am I putting this here? It's because we can see the market came aggressively, push back up, not the cleanest continuation, but we have that impulse correction continuation, right? So we can see where the market is currently, right? So now we have a gap towards this, right? So I would then say this market, we don't need to rush. We don't need to rush. So we can also see this is a corrective, is a rising channel or ascending channel. So we can see we had to push down, we had that squeeze there, but the first flag was, it was very large. It's not the right sequence we want from the market. But let's say, for example, we mark off this point over there, and we see the market doing something like this, catching the sellers on the wrong side of the market first, like a trap move, then taking this area, moving back up into this. If I can get something like this, then I would then sell this way into areas like this just for management purposes. If it then gives another continuation underneath this, would be much more riskier side, because it can just take this area and start to go long again, right? But with this, we can also see this was the low, right? It changed character from a bullish market, it changed to a bearish market, right? So we can see this was a two-touch retesting the back end of this low. The market went down. So like I said, if we can get it, the market can maybe do something like this, have that continuation, maybe a risk entry would be there, but I would rather prefer insurance entry. So then we can maybe take it into this, sell into this area. So the question is, where is the best place of buying this pair realistically? I would really say areas, maybe this area there, but mostly this area. If the market can sell down towards this area, would be a very, very great thing for the longs. The longs would then give us that clear long push, something like this. I would take into that, but it's not the cleanest, but yeah, it is there, right? So that's AUD NZD, or we can see the market push up. Let's say the market opens, pushes up, forms a continuation. Now this is a structural flip sitting at this area. I'll take this long into this area 100%. Now we have this. Is this an impulse, correction, continuation? Now we have the three touch, the reversal, for then that bigger play towards the downside, because we can clearly see this was the push and the market just came back down. Is it forming like an M style formation? Possibly, but like I said, if it does this, I am willing to take longs inside this into this area over there. So that's just my take on AUD NZD. Not the cleanest of pairs right now. We have AUD Swiss franc, right? AUD Swiss franc, we can see clearly in a downtrend for quite some time on the monthly. So I'm just gonna mark off this value area over there. Let's go down to the weekly. Now on the weekly, we can see we can mark off this area also here. We can see that the market at this 0.120 volume area, the market came to stall at this area, right? You can see it's stalling at this area. Not the cleanest move also towards the upside, very corrective, right? So now we can see where the market is. This was clearly a failed bullish structure. So we can see the market showing us forms of selling pressure. Possible, right? So we can see we have this low over there. We also see we have this area over there, over here, right? So you see the clean impulse towards the downside. So how are we going to see the market tapping this volume? This can almost act as a, we have that small correction, whereby we see the market forming a falcon flag, right? It's been a while I've seen that, so you can also see something like this, maybe expanding, but then with this kind of expanding areas into this, not quite the best. But let's say the market then we can see clear this low, maybe coming into this for a two touch, now push down, flag, even a risk entry, because we can see there's really nothing there to the left on top of it can maybe like for the market can pull back to whatever the case may be. So with AUD Swiss franc, I think it's quite nice. If you can get something like this, like put it maybe a 10 to 15 pip stop loss, would be great. Into this low over there would be like a 4%. This one would be a 5.5%, right? So it's all about just waiting for the market really to show. Now we can see that this pattern, you see this pushes down and then it takes this area. This can be the formation. The insurance entry would be very great. It will just confirm what we are forecasting. So yeah, I would then say with this pair we can see clearly the market did break. We can see where this push down. So AUD and AUD Swiss franc looks quite nice for me personally. So yeah, maybe we can manage it into this area over there, whereby maybe we can get some sales. But let's say the market doesn't do forecast or go according to our forecasting, right? How it goes, it pushes up, forms a flag, a bull flag, structural flip above this, then I would say we can still take this, but be neutral into this high over there. Let's say 15 pip stop loss, 3.8 into this high over there, would then be a 4 to 7, something like this. More longer term, it's 10%. But like I said, it's not about the outcome, it's more about the process. Waiting for the market to show itself. Right? Is this possible? We can get something like this. Then the market moves up. It is possible. So the last pair on the AUD pairs is AUD USD, right? So with this one, right, I think it's just about really waiting to see what the market does, right? So we can clearly see this market moving towards the downside. Also this ranging, we can see where this the market's just sitting doing this, right? So now if we mark off this area of value over there, we see that the market did take this area, right? Now the thing is, the market rejected this area but didn't give a push clear flag to confirm the sales, right? So now the market is just sitting there moving sideways, which can also give us a sign that the market, if the market pushes up, forms a flag, we can expect the market then to go to into areas like this, right? So it's all about just waiting for the market to show its hand, right? So let's quickly go down to the weekly. On the weekly, we can see that the market did take this area. We can see even take this hook point over there, right? Fill the gap source this. So now this was where the traps were, right? You can clearly see this was a trap move over there, right? Whereby the market take, sold off, but didn't commit, take the high again and sold off, right? So for me personally, right, I would then really want to see, because even though it does this, right, I would want to see the market maybe forming a deeper continuation around these areas. Reason I'm saying this, so then it confirms with the ceiling that we see here. We can see we have the gap towards that, we see the squeeze, the breakdown, the flag, so we can see break retest. Someone would say also inverse head and shoulder, head and shoulder formation. It's good, push down. So just something sitting at this area, right? Or we can maybe wait for the market to push down below this area, form a flag, and then continue going low, right? But I would suggest if we can get something like a deeper pullback at this area, I would then take this 100%, because now it confirms with a bigger time frame what I'm seeing. If not, right, let's say the sales doesn't appear, right, we can get that the market then builds up the volume, sellers does this, and then the market takes this 100%, because now we can clearly see we have that impulse, correction, continuation, right? So being neutral is, I think, is key. Just really waiting for the market. So guys, this is my breakdown on the YouTube base. I hope maybe gave some of you clarity, and yeah, it's just my forecast and what I see on the coming week possibly. So yes, have a wonderful Saturday, and check out for the next video. See you guys soon.